Well, hey, I hope you are having a better day than I am because my day is just all kinds of cattywampus and going some wrongins and whatnot. And I thought, hey, what better idea, or rather, what worse idea than to go ahead and film the next diagnostic? So, I'm Keeney. I'll be your YouTube guide for this diagnostic. And today, the devil brings us the 11 Volkswagen Tiguan. The complaint is, the story goes, several malfunction indicator lamps on the dash. All lights seem to have come on at the same time while driving. And while driving and all the lights come on, the vehicle decelerated briefly and rapidly, and it felt like the brakes were applied, though the brake pedal was not depressed. They purchased the code with a P2015 recently, which is some intake manifold run or something or other, but they knew about it and it doesn't seem to have caused an issue up to this point, which now we got brake supplying and all the others. Um, we scanned her for codes. She has 23 codes in memory, though after doing a test drive and just looking at like one thing scan data, I think we are going to pick a certain direction. Specifically, they want most of the lights off and they don't want it to feel like it's braking while they're driving. And so that leaves us with a code in the brake module, a 00290 and a 00287. They are for left rear and right rear wheel speed sensor issues. I've got one trace recording. We've got four wheel speed sensors. The fronts are going to be these two that kind of come up together. The left rear is the red, which is all over the goofy place, and the right rear is the light green, which just goes flat to zero. That said, it looks like we're going to be chasing a lot of camera movement and some rear wheel speed sensors or whatever on this vehicle. So let us go pull some code description. Oh, wait. I can't pull a code description because I don't have internet today. That's one of the many things that's gone so well. So I don't know what I'm going to do. We'll see if we can Google some weird stuff and or reverse engineer some of the wiring on it and figure out what's up with our wheel speed sensors or the circuit or what have you. Can't get online with the tool either, so that's fun. We don't get a topology. Yep. Let's get after it. I'm going to pull as much info as I can on these codes, and I will bring you back once I know just a little bit more. We have gotten back from the coffee shop because we had to go up there to use the internets and download a whole bunch of wiring diagrams and service info that hopefully we got everything we need. This thing looks pretty straightforward from what I can tell. This is our Volkswagen, goofy, what do they call it, track style diagram. Down here we got our right rear wheel speed sensor. Here we got the left rear wheel speed sensor. And then there's some stars. Really looks like there's just some different color wires depending upon option availability. Let's go pick that thing up, see if we can put eyes on the color of the wires and get a couple scope traces. We may take a scope trace of the front to get a known good. It does look like, and according to the way the decoder reads, one wire is a positive feed to the sensor and one is a ground, and it's got the little transistor little sign in there. I assume we're just going to have a square wave out of it, but lift it up, probably look at a known good, put eyes on wire colors, make sure everything matches. Yep. Quick recap. Our red trace, which is very spiky and stuff, is the left rear speed sensor on the vehicle. And historically, whenever I see these types of dropouts, I've only ever experienced them being a tone wheel. And so I'm curious if our speed sensor is okay. We just got a goofy tone wheel in that spot. And we are on the left rear right now. what we have done, we can't see any wire colors because the speed sensor harness is totally like rubberized, Volkswagenized, protected and such. So we got the Y cables, the little pinouts. Man, you can't see nothing. There we go. So we can see we've got black and red. Again, I don't know which one's which, but they're going from there into the actual speed sensor itself. And then I've got the leads hanging here. Right now we're plugged into the red lead. Whatever the red lead is, I do not know. We will jump to our scope. The key is on. We will hit the play button. And apparently we disconnected our VCMI. Well, that's fun. Let me power that on and cut this. We are now plugged in, and it seems we've already got some sort of square wave going on. What is that, like a 3 volt to 10 volt or something weird? So it's about 3 volts at the bottom. She's about 10.8, 11 volts at the top. What does that actually look like? Is this one of them fancy fandangled like message sending sensors? What they call it, like a scent sensor or something? Or do they all look the same? All right, the pulses all look the same. I'm going to assume that's some sort of circuit check deal. We can hope. Well, I don't know, really. I'm just going to plug into the other one. So we were plugged into the red lead, pulling out. Now we're going to plug into the black lead. Oh, there we go. That looks like something that would make more sense. That's our constant power at 11.25 volts. And according to the description and operation of the circuits, we generally get power on one side and then transistor control to the other side. That means, and if I understand correctly, if we now go back to the red lead, sticking out of there, and if oh wow, what just happened? Did we lose connection? Did my scale mess up? Well, that was pretty odd. We had a bunch of signals on this a second ago. Y'all synced it. Synced it. And they're not there now. That's interesting. I'm going to go ahead and rotate this hub. And we can see we do have some square wave signals going in there. But how good are they? We don't necessarily know. We're going to have to pause here because this is, well, that was weird. It went 12. Maybe we do have a sensor wigging out. If we're getting those odd voltages, I'm not sure. We're going to have to pivot. We're going to have to go to the front with a known good. I need to see what known good's supposed to look like on here. Right, same setup on the left front now. We're currently plugged into the red lead, which is on like the curved side of the connector. I got some ABS data. We're going to do a split screen on this one, see if it will help us. So we're at 0 wheel speed, scope, and we've got a value that doesn't match anything we had on the rear. So yeah, 1.8 volts on whatever this one is. Let me switch the lead to the other one. See if we have power all the time. There we go. All right. Already we can see we got something different in the front from the rear. We have our constant. I'm guessing that's 11.8 or 10.8. 11. We'll call it 11 volts for a power feed to this sensor. Let us go back to what should be then our switched ground circuit. And here we have, whoops, you're in my way. 1.75-ish volts. 1.75 to about 11 is what we got. Now let's split screen our deal. And I'm going to start rotating the left front by hand. We can see we have some changes on the scope, but we did not have anything on, should really probably change my time base on this. Whoops, I'm hitting all the wrong buttons. Let's fix this. Let's do a 2-second. I'm going to spin it a little bit faster and hopefully well, no wonder. Why didn't you tell me I was looking at the wrong speed sensor? Come on, YouTube, you're supposed to help me. All right, let's try that again. I'm going to go ahead and rotate this thing. Still no change on that one. Let's rotate it faster. There she goes. Let's pause that and just take a screenshot. Actually, I'm going to take a different one. Oh, wow, we're just going to zoom in. On the looks like our pulse side, we have a zero or a, what are these values? 1.65 volts to 1 volt. Man, that's a pretty short swing. And that's definitely not what we had on the rear. Maybe I hooked on the rear wrong or something. I'm not really sure. Yeah, we're at 830 millivolts to 1.068 volts. Does that mean, did I understand that correctly? To say, does it drop down? Oh, it does. I didn't even catch it. All right. Now that I understand basic operation, it looks like we got 1.7-ish volts, and then as the wheel is turned, it pulls it down to under 1 volt, called 850 millivolts. That's theory of operation. Let's then take that and move to the rear again and see what that looks like. I was actually sitting here playing with this for a second. It goes, the voltage is correct, but actually, depending on where the wheel is, it'll just be high or low. So right now I'm going to slowly rotate the wheel. I stopped rotating it. I'm going to rotate the wheel again really slow. I'm rotating the wheel. Okay, now I'm going to stop. And so it just has our high and low points like you might expect on a tone wheel. We are now plugged back into the left rear, which had our intermittent dropouts. We are on the positive wire, and I just want to make sure our positive doesn't drop out. I'm going to dance around this thing. I'm going to spin the hub, just make sure nothing happens to positive. Positive looks pretty steady. And we had no change on the PID data either, which is interesting. Let us then move to the signal wire, return to ABS module. All right. Oh, yeah. That's what we saw last time. It's way different. And so it looks like it's trying to stay down where our previous range was. I left these cursors in about the same spot. And so we are about where we're supposed to be. Well, we're getting a pulse to our 11 volts or whatever. It looks like it might just be the sensors failed. With that, I'm going to spin this hub. Oh, that's cool. That's super cool. I think the sensor's still picking up the tones, but she's just sending this really high voltage, which is confusing the actual controller. Yeah, left rear. I'm going to spin this really slowly to try to mimic the, there she is. Oh, wait, it's hard to spin slowly. So there's, and the voltages, it looks like are different. So there's up, spin a little more. It's hard to spin this slowly. There's low. Nice. I have to spin it again, stop. We'll let the scope reset. Spin again, stop. Very cool. I'd say this one we just got a bad sensor in her. I don't see how anything else could be going on. I'll spin her kind of quick. We'll get a screenshot for the customer. Let me then also disconnect, since we've got a Y cable in here, I'm going to disconnect from the sensor side and make sure we don't have some sort of weird interference going on with this actual wire. So disconnecting the sensor side. There she goes to 0 volts. So certainly this is coming back. Oh, and we even got a spike there. So it did kind of pick up that little change. Plug her back in. I'm now going to switch to the positive lead going into the sensor. I'm going to disconnect from the sensor again. Because right now we're still Y cabled in. If I can get my hand up in here. All right, now we're going to disconnect. Ooh, that's interesting. I did not expect to see that or have loud trucks driving by. There's a circuit integrity check on the positive wire, it looks like. That's interesting. We'll plug it back in. Let's go ahead. I think we're looking at a bad sensor, but let's go ahead and swap to the right rear and see what the right rear looks like. Now we're tapped into the right rear. I haven't connected anything yet. Getting ready to connect what should be the positive lead. And we've got our, actually that voltage is lower than the rest. I think the others are like 11. That one's going to be down to like 9 volts. That's interesting. Now let's go ahead and switch to the signal lead or wire or whatever. Oh, and she's even a weirder one. I guess we just have 2 bad sensors. I'll have to do some open circuit tests on the ones up front to make sure. I'm now going to slowly rotate the right rear hub. Yeah, you can see the square wave developing. That's pretty cool. The square wave is there. Let's see if we can't zoom in just a smidgen and get that a little different. Let's go ahead. There's our square wave and screenshot it. Beautiful. I'm gonna spin it fast. Yeah, I don't guess that computer has any idea what's going on with that one. That's funny. All right, let's go ahead and disconnect this ground side from the sensor. If I can get my hands in here to see, I think last time it just went to 0 volts. Yep, so we got 0 volts there. Now I'm going to plug into the positive side, and it's still wide in. We've got our goofy signals. And then I'm going to disconnect from the sensor. Maybe. So disconnect from the sensor. And we still have those positive dropouts. That's a little weird to me. We need to redo an open circuit test on the front and see what that open circuit voltage looks like. We are up here back on the left front getting ready to install this. The connector's unplugged. Going to plug into the signal side wire. We have 0 volts like I would expect. Now let's plug into the power side wire. See if we have that weird. We do. All right. That's good news. That means this is normal. Let's get an exact voltage measurement on this. We've got an average read-in and a low read-in. Average is, we'll call it 9.7, and then it drops down to 1.85. While we're just doing this pretty live, I'm going to go ahead and actually now run back to the rear and see if our cursors will stay in the same spot. And then that will allow us to do the same open circuit just to make sure they go the same range. Now getting ready to plug in, should be plugging into the positive with an open circuit. What's it look like? Open circuit voltage is the same on the left rear. This is the left rear right now. Open circuit voltage looks like the same pattern. Now I'm going to go ahead and move to the right rear. Trying to get the cable connection and almost there. All right, this is the right rear. Booyah! Looks like we just got 2 bad sensors in the back of this thing. How about that? Last test, just because I like to be super positive on everything we do. We have the wiring from the left front sensor going to the sensor on the right rear sensor. I don't know what I just said. Left front wiring, right rear sensor. Previously, there have never been any codes in the module for the left front. Both fronts worked fine. Never set a code. We only had codes for the rear. This should now give us a code for the left front. We got our wiring in there. Wire harness coming to our big long dangly jumper wire. And then our big long dangly jumper wire goes into the right rear sensor. This means when we come back to our little base dealie here, make it so you can see whatever was going on. We're going to read codes and clear codes. Probably get out of this mode. Trouble codes. I know there's codes in there. Erase codes. Yes, yes. Now when I hit read codes here, if that erase worked, we should now have a code for the left front wheel speed sensor circuit. Boom! Left front ABS wheel speed sensor. Open short circuit. That's it. That's what that confirms it. Oy. At this point, we are going to quote up some speed sensors for this old girl. We'll do this. We'll do the same to the left rear just to be 100%. Let's do it again. Same setup on the left rear sensor, left front wiring. We're going to erase codes. We should set the code again for the left front. Boom. Left front wheel speed sensor. Now, while y'all are doing that, I'm going to unplug over here. I'm actually going to reconnect in the left front, like she's supposed to be. So the left front is now plugged back into the left front. We'll erase codes. Yes, yes. Both the rears are still disconnected. Read codes. Booyah! Our front's gone. That's what we got. Now, we'll write up a quote for a couple sensors. See if we, I don't think there's anything else we really got to do to this. But, yep, that's what I got. We'll come back if we get approval for it. I don't know where we left off, but we got the new wheel speed sensors that we're going to throw in there. When I popped the old one out, one thing I did was stick a camera in the little hole to look at the tone ring. They're a little rusty. They don't look like they're scraping on the new sensor. If they are, maybe just a touch, like just from rust building up. But I'm going to stick just a soft bristle brush in there, if there's any loose rust or anything, I'm just going to try and knock it off. We'll see if we can't get it on the borescope camera. And we will just start by plugging the sensors into the harness and checking codes and make sure we get rid of those rear wheel speed sensor codes. While you're set up under the car, we've got the codes left over from our previous testings. I'm going to go ahead and erase it. Right now, the rear speed sensors are unplugged, so we should still have two circuit codes for the rear, but the fronts are plugged in. So we've got right rear, left rear. Let's just go in, and what I'm going to do is plug in, before I even installed in the car, just plug into the circuits of the rear for the sensors and just make sure these go away. We got our left rear sensor just dangling by the harness that you can't see at all. Same with the right rear. We got her just hanging out in the harness. Come back to our scan tool. We're going to hit the erase code button. It is, yes. Boom. Oh, wait, it does this a few times. So you actually have to re-hit read codes again. Booyah. No codes detected. We'll read it one more time. Boom. No codes detected. Now I'm going to show you what the inside of these bores look like. And you're crooked. The inside, like the bore where it goes, the sensor mounts up into the hole, is a little gunky. I'm going to blow it out with some air and just get a light brush and probably touch that tone wheel with a light brush just to make sure there's nothing big in the way. I'll show you that next. We got the borescope camera stuck in, and what we're looking at on the borescope camera, screen on screen, great. This is the tone ring, and you'll see it start to rotate as I go in and spin the wheel a little bit and hold everything steady. So we can see that just, it looks like rust rotating around rust. That's what I'm just going to try to knock off with a brush and an air gun and try and clean it up as best as possible. This was the brush that I used to just lightly run in there. I don't know if the camera's going to pick it up. There's a little bitty baby bit of, junk and debris on the end of that, but just a real soft brushed nylon brush that shouldn't hurt that tone ring at all. We'll get those sensors slapped in and take our scope measurements. We got the key on. We got the rear wheel speed sensors put into the hub, and they are bolted in. We're gonna start with the left rear. We got the the Y cable's bolted in, and so right now I'm getting ready to plug into what I think is the positive. If I remember, this should be our positive circuit. We should go to 12 volts if I recall. That is a 12 volt signal on the left rear. That is good. Now let's switch to our signal side or the ground side or whatever the heck you want to call it on the left rear. There's that. And this is what we saw before. Now we're going to, though, zoom in on our scale to see. No, we didn't need to zoom in that fast. Let's do that, and we'll blow our scale up because we want to see if it will go high and low as I slowly rotate the tire. So I'm going to slowly start turning it. Low, high, low. Oh, yes. Beautiful. That is I'll zoom out a little further again. And let's get it on the actual speed sensors to show up. So I'm going to go ahead and spin her fast. Boom. And we need to zoom Y. We'll get a screenshot of that. She's moving. That's what we wanted. I'm going to go ahead and just do it again here just to watch. We got 0.62. Spinning. Yeah, buddy. We got a good left rear. Let's double check our codes. Make sure we ain't got none of those. Read codes. Oh, that's weird. Did I not clear this? I may not have cleared this since last time. I don't recall. That'd be odd. Well, let's see if I screwed the pooch on her. Oops, come on. Diagnostics. Race codes. Yes. Read codes. Alright, we got no codes. Oh, wait, right. Ha! I got it. I disconnected the connector to put in the Y cable, and I'm pretty sure the key was on because we got no codes now. My bad. I'm going to do the same test to the right rear. I'll bring it back for it. Now we're going to the right rear. I will first start with what I believe is the positive side plugged in. Oh yeah, she went off scale because we didn't reset that. We got 12 volts. Excellent. That's what we want to see. Let's go in and zoom back into 5. Probably increase our time base a little bit here. And, oh, yeah. Why isn't it? I didn't switch to the signal side. So we're going to unplug from our power side. Now we're going to switch the lead to our signal side. There's the voltage we was looking for. I'm going to slowly start rotating this tire. High, low, high, low, high, low. Excellent. Same voltages. Beautiful. This is fantastic. Now we will zoom out a little bit, spin a little faster, get a screenshot. And then she's going to stop. Screenshot it. Booyah! in the car with the greatest glares. We're just gonna pull forward in this parking lot and somehow maybe get rid of that glare. Probably not at all. There, all four wheel speed sensors going up and down together. That was it. That's it for this one, I suppose. I feel like there's something else I was going to say about her. I don't remember what it was, but wheel speed sensors. Oh, that's what I was going to say. I don't know why both of these wheel speed sensors failed at the same time, and why the symptoms we had showed up the way they did. So I always try to connect everything the customer says with what I find on the vehicle, and we've still got a little bit of an open point on this one specifically. So the customer specifically said that all of the ABS, brake lights, all that stuff, they came on at one time, but before that, supposedly they had not been on. And that makes me question why. I think it's unlikely that both speed sensors failed at the exact same time. And so, what I'm curious about is if I think it was the right rear that was just like dead zero all the time, and the left rear would be sporadic, I think is how it went. But whichever one was dead zero, I think the computer might be smart enough to know that it's not sliding on ice. But with the one that was sporadic all over the place, I think that's the one that was initiating ABS brakes, brake events, and things like that. But if that one sensor that was flatline zero had been failed for a while, sure, we wouldn't get ABS events like actual while driving, but the brake light should have been on. We should have got some sort of ABS warning indicator. So that's a little bit of an open point. I guess the customer I'm specifically speaking to isn't the main driver of the vehicle, so maybe there were a few things that got lost through communication there. But that was it. I told her everything I found there too, and it's kind of odd that if we have one speed sensor being zero, we should have had some lights on. Regardless, just speed sensors. The video ended a little better than she started, made me feel a little bit better. I hope this was helpful for somebody out there, and I will catch y'all up in the next one.